Hello, everyone. Welcome here. Today, we're going to play some Tycoon once this thing finishes booting up. Nostalgia. Anyway. Most games I have them already started before we get to this point, before we get to the point of starting stream, but I can't deprive you all from being able to experience the good old PC BIOS. Alright, so last time we stopped in the middle of a scenario. Go ahead and load that up. Okay, so we were low on money, but we had finished all the scenario objectives. I thought we had finished all the scenario objectives. What are we missing? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, we have 8 animal exhibits. What? Or we have 8 different animal species. Okay, now it's checked off. I was going to say, we better darn well have finished that. Okay, we have finished all of the objectives. Currently, I'm just wasting money trying to make my guests happy for no particular reason. Other than that, we can. Let's see. I was using concrete observation area. Yeah. All right. Hello, Treebeard. Yeah, I think we have exhibit signs in all of these observation areas. I just have a couple more of these things to place along here and over here by the lions. Hope that was the best nap ever. Yeah, it was a pretty solid nap. I slept most of today as well. Alright. So we just have a little bit more of a stretch along here to cover with observation areas, and that part will be done. At which point... Not sure what the next objective will be. Probably just finding more decoratives to place. Well, that and we should replace these fences with better fences, probably. Ones that require less repair. And that look nicer. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these intersections here yet. I should probably put like trees and stuff there. Yeah. Getting getting guest happiness up is the hardest part of some of the later scenarios. So I guess we'll have to... It's probably a good idea to waste some time worrying about it now in an effort to see if I can prod my brain into remembering what works and what doesn't. But anyway. We're almost back to having cash again. Yeah, I remember some of the later scenarios you need like absurdly high guest happiness to succeed. Which is non-trivial. Alright. So that's all done. Let's go ahead and put better fences around these guys over here. There we go. Alright, we got a baby black rhino. Nice. It's going to make their exhibit a lot more valuable. Guest happiness is actually going down overall, which is somewhat surprising. Usually, making the zoo prettier would make it go up. So it's probably just one or two somewhat unhappy guests creating an issue. Alright, so we prettied up the part of the exhibit the guests can see. We'll get around to the rest of it later. This guy's pretty happy, all things considered. Yeah, I like the way they have grouped animals in this zoo. That's the bonus from multi-animal exhibit kicking in there. That's a pretty substantial bonus, by the way. It really increases attractiveness to have exhibits with multiple types of animals in it. I don't remember exactly how much, but it's not inconsiderable. Anyway. What all can I add to increase guest happiness at this point? How much is it going to cost to fully replace this fence? A little bit more. Okay. Well, end of the month. Yeah, it's been hovering in the mid-high 70s the whole time. I don't think we're going to get much better than that, this particular zoo. I think there are some later zoos that are going to be a real pain in the butt that require high guest happiness. Oh well. We could add tour guides. I don't remember how much these guys actually do, and like how useful they actually are. Hello, Roxanne Wolf. Welcome here. Okay. Let's go ahead and finish off the zoo fence here. Or, not zoo fence. The last exhibit fence isn't upgraded. I think that's where our next chunk of money is going to go. It'll be like 1,300, something like that. 1,350. And then from there, I guess we'll just start dropping more decorative shit. If we catch the right date, we can get the jack-o'-lanterns and add them somewhere. Got a little more time before that's available. Do we have any particularly interesting decorative foliage we could add? Here, let's turn on the grid so I can see this a little better. We could add some flower beds here behind these benches. Sure, why not? And then let's add a different flower bed behind the zoo signs. The zoo maps, whatever. I don't think I've ever played... Well, okay, I know I've never played Theme Park DS. Could have also used decorative edges or something back there. I'd really like to replace the terrain outside of the exhibits here with grass, but that's just not going to happen. It costs way too much. Which is a bit of an issue. I've been spending our money as fast as it comes in, and that tends to result in problems. Yeah. Just sprinkle some flower beds around. That's a quarter tile tree. Well, we do have rhinos in the zoo, so let's use rhinos. Not that it really matters. Alright. And while I'm at it, let's go ahead and put up guest fencing. Restrict them to where they're not supposed to be, where they are supposed to be. Not that it really matters. They won't leave the path anyway most of the time. But it's pretty. Actually, how close to the end of the month are? Oh, damn it, I missed the end of the month. Oh well. Let's face it, we weren't going to buy jack-o'-lanterns anyway. Kind of surprised we're at 75 guest happiness with all the decorating we've done. Not that it matters, there's no guest happiness requirement for this zoo, but I mean, it matters to me. Okay. I don't think any of these actually block guest vision or anything. But I'm not actually sure. In any case, it doesn't matter, because we're not trying to really block guest vision. We're just trying to add decoration to the area. Make it look prettier so the guests are happier. I don't remember how much of their happiness score is how pretty their surroundings are, but it definitely doesn't hurt anything. Anyway. And also, we don't have anything better to do right now, so I'm just wasting money. I do really wish you could finish scenarios early. If you had all the objectives completed. But, alas. Yeah, guest happiness is 74. Really? Why are you people getting more and more unhappy as time goes by? Here, go eat at the damn restaurant if you're hungry. And he's not even unhappy. He's happy. He's just hungry, thirsty, needs to use the restroom, low on energy. Okay. You can actually check these people. Okay, this guy's got a happiness of 40. What? That's a little odd. Okay. Apparently they arrived very unhappy. Because they've only been here for, quote, a short time. Yeah. They got a big chunk of happiness boost from the exhibit sign and from seeing happy lions. But there's still only 40 happiness. Okay, there's some definite... Yeah, just arrived in the park. Why are we getting unhappy park arrivals? That's no good. So one trick you generally have to use in some of the later scenarios is just go and jack the mission prices way up. Once you have your basic exhibits and most of your money made and stuff like that. Because you gotta keep people out of your zoo. Otherwise you get too many unhappy people together and then the happiness goes down. But it's still... They should be arriving a little more happy than that. Yeah, like this person who just walked in, 92 happiness. 72. Only 1 month left. Oh no, what will I ever do? It's not like we've been finished for 6 months already. That guy's 75 happiness initial. It's like 75 happiness would be bad if you're on one of those ones that requires obscenely high guest happiness. But also, overall, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so I looked at the zoo map twice and didn't get any happiness from it, apparently. We did get a couple thoughts about looking at it, but... yeah, whatever. Anyway. Yeah, I can mess around and play some more flower beds and stuff, but... It's December 10th. We're almost done here. And then we can move on to the next zoo. Let's hide the buildings so I can see what's going on here. Just scatter in random flower beds. Hello, Dread. go with these. And then we'll add some basic park benches. There. Good enough for who it's for. Better check they didn't accidentally block the entrance or something dumb. Nope. Okay. That looks good. Missed a spot. All right. I think that's everything done up to the same standard of quality. Except, small mistake here. This exhibit is slightly different than the rest in that it has its signs on the side instead of in the middle. Actually going to go ahead and remove those side wings on all of them. I don't quite like the way they look. There. Alrighty. Yay, we've completed the scenario as if it was ever in doubt. Alright, next scenario. What do we have? Inner City Zoo. Zoo rating of 55. That's absolutely trivial. Average guest happiness rating of 85. Okay, this one's annoying. Average animal happiness 78. That's trivial. 6 different animal species. That's fairly easy. Guest happiness rating of 85 is going to be interesting. As demonstrated by the one we just completed, which we only got to like 70 something. Let's actually take a look here at the good old strategy guide. What does it say about this particular scenario? Actually, I want to read the section on not that scenario, but guest happiness in general, because it's been a long time since I did anything with that. Okay, page 5. What are the actual... Okay. It does not give any details there. All right. I swear there was a section where it does. Okay. What's it say about zoo happiness? Hmm. You'll quickly see the main difficulty in winning this scenario is keeping guest happiness over 85. Wow, really? Who could have possibly known that? Okay. Yeah, basically didn't give you anything I didn't already know. In other words, stop letting new guests in as much as possible close to the end of the month. Okay. Outside of that guest happiness rating of 85, this scenario is pretty easy. Okay, step 1. Delete everything. This is a very small map, unfortunately for us. So yeah, we don't have a whole lot of room to work with here. And we need to exhibit, how many different creatures was it? 6 different species. Okay. So we can get one large-ish multi-animal savanna exhibit. That'll be 4 right there. And then we can fit in some lions and oh, that's probably it. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll need something else than that, obviously, but just some other random ass thing. Shouldn't be too hard. Okay. Or, well, we don't have a ton of money either, so this is definitely going to be an exercise in minimum people. Okay, how much space do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles. um, okay. Let's jam in the restaurant close to the entrance. Maybe? Maybe not. How do I want to lay this place out? I think I'm going to put our large 4 animal exhibit over here. Um, no. Watch. Here, we want this. Okay. That gives us a leveler area over here to work with for like 1,000 of our precious hard-earned monies. Wooden slat is 110. Post and rails only 90. I think we need tall fence. I don't remember if the gazelles and stuff can jump out. In any case, I'm not going to trust them not to. We could use stick pole, which is even cheaper. And better yet, it's a solid type of fence. So there's there's three types of fence in this game. There's solid fencing, there's windowed fencing, and then there's half height fencing, short walls. So short walls only keep in animals that can't climb or jump. So they're of limited utility at best. Standard fencing is like chain link. It's full height. Guests can see through it. Everybody's happy. And then solid fencing is tall fencing. Guests can't see through it. And everybody's unhappy because they can't see the animals. Although it's actually usually a good thing to have solid fencing, because then you can control who can see into the exhibit. And where. Do I want to make this a little bigger, or is that good enough? We're going to put 4 different kinds of animals in it, so I think 10 by 10 is probably good. Okay. Now, next thing's next. I do need to flatten this just a little bit more. There we go. And then we will need to add some windows to the sides here. Let's go with that. All right. Now, observation area. That should work. Um, yeah, let's put a double path in like that. Okay, now lions and tigers and other excitement. For the lions, we're going to use rock fencing. Okay. That is, I believe, a 50 tile exhibit. Which I think is enough for a pair or 3 lions. Let's just check. I can never remember how much you actually need for lions. Boom, lion. 20 tiles per animal. Okay. That's not enough. You need at least 60. So let's add another 5 tiles. Like so. And that should get us 50, 75, I believe. It's a rather narrow exhibit, but we're kind of limited here. All right. And then for path, here, let's rotate this so I can get a good view of it. Boom. Flatten that out. Okay. Now, I'm going to run that like so. Hopefully that's a good idea. Then if we need another exhibit, we'll put it over here, I think. So before I use up all of my cash, I'm going to go ahead and put the restaurant right here. And then we'll put in a carousel. And the good old animal theater will go somewhere around here. We don't really have a whole lot of space to work with. I'd kind of like to put it over here, actually. But that's our best place for the next exhibit. So I don't want to waste that. The other best place to put this thing would be over here. Or, I suppose, we could stick it in here. Okay, we can't stick it in here. We don't have the room. Oof. We might have to do without the animal theater. That would be... Well, we can do it without it for now, that's for sure. Okay, right now we need to get actual animals going. So let's start with the lions, because they're massive crowd pleasers and relatively cheap to do. Okay. Too much grass, not enough savanna grass, not enough dirt. There's not enough water. Not sure. Is 4 tiles of water too much? I don't think so. Okay, they're not complaining about either sand or water anymore, so it's probably about the right amount. So guests can only see 5 tile or 10 tiles. So they won't be able to see the back 5 tiles of this exhibit, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. Okay. Too much grass, not enough savanna grass. Boom. That problem is solved. Hello? There's no savanna grass in here. Update already, damn you. There we go, finally. Usually it updates when you close and open right away. Happy with more rocks, not enough shelter, just wants some fun like a toy. Okay. Toy part's easy. Shelter's easy. We just give them the good old cheap concrete shelter in the back corner. Toy. Boom, you get a lion rock right up here in front of the observation area. Foliage is also easy. We'll just jam some trees back here in the part the guests can't see. The more of this we use up with impassable terrain, the better. Happier with more rocks. Okay. Happier with more rocks. Let's go ahead and unpause. We got that into the 90s without... Okay, that's too much rock. What that tells me is that's probably too much rock as well. They just didn't want to admit it. Yep. Okay. Now, let's see if we can add some more trees. 15K for getting to 99 suitability. One reason why lions are really good is because it's super easy to get 100% suitability in their exhibit. And that gives you a free 15K money, which we desperately needed because we were down to our last 1,000. All right. Let's not forget to drop our admission price. We need an animal theater. Okay. That'll do. I should also get a gift shop because gift shops are surprisingly good money. So we'll put that in here by the entrance as well. Okay. Okay. I guess next thing is to start working on the combined savanna animal exhibit, which this might not be big enough and we might have to expand it, but we can at least get the beginnings of it down. We'll do Thompson's gazelles to start with, because they're relatively cheap. Okay, not enough fresh water, not enough shelters. I believe everything in here is going to be happy with the stables. No, not the stable. They're going to want the lean-to. Yeah. Not enough fresh water, which, sure, we'll add a little pond down the middle. Okay. Suitability is kind of low, but that's fine. Let's add some ostriches as well. Not enough dirt, too much savanna grass. All right, so the gazelles aren't going to be happy about adding dirt, but they're just going to have to lump it. Okay, let's leave it at that for now. How much money do I have? Enough that I can add some zebras. Okay, 87 suitability, 82 suitability, 88 suitability. Okay, we can add rocks now. There's our 10K emergency money. Too much dirt, not enough shelters. Not enough shelters is easy to fix. Too much dirt, more animals the same type. Well suited. More animals same type, too much dirt. Okay, let's add some wildebeests now. Too much savanna grass, more animals same type. Not big enough for the animals it currently holds. Okay. Not enough shelters. We'll probably have to make the exhibit a little larger. Like, their suitability is not terrible. And we could definitely do some work to min-max it, but everybody's over 80%. We have baby ostriches already. Yeah, okay. What is the actual requirements here? Guest happiness rating of 85, which can be a bitch. 6 different animal types. Average animal happiness 78. Zoo rating 55. Okay. So this exhibit is good enough TM. We just need one more animal type, and then all we need to do is worry about guest happiness. I would like to improve that exhibit. But that is... Oops. That is a future Milo problem. Okay, what can we stuff in here that's not too hard to take care of? Good old saltwater crocodile is pretty easy. Yeah, let's do saltwater crocodile. I kind of like them. Okay, and you can use short fencing with them, which is cheaper. So use short rock fence. Actually, no, I want to use tall fence on this side. Because I don't want... I don't want the guests looking in from the main path. But instead of using the... Okay. Put a hunk of dirt up here by the entrance. And then the rest of the exhibit is all saltwater. This is possibly too small for a pair. Let's make sure it's not too small for a single one. Okay. Okay, they're not complaining about anything. That's too much rock, okay. Just go ahead and add some water reeds, and I think we're pretty good on this exhibit. I might want to try tweaking it a little bit to get it perfect, but... The only scenario goal that's left to complete is guest happiness. I believe. '88 suitability. They didn't like me removing their rock, but that's fine. They'll get over it. Okay, got exactly the perfect amount of rock for them. We're at 89 suitability. There's probably a way to improve it slightly, but whatever it is, I'm not going to mess with it. We've got good enough. The Lions got us our free 15k. Everybody else is... Okay, let's check our scenario goals. Okay, the only thing we have to do is achieve guest happiness rating of 85, which is going to be non-trivial. We blew all of our money on this. Where is animal houses? There we go. So basically at this point we're going to want to add attractions, add decorations, all that fun stuff to try to improve visuals as much as possible. I think we're just going to do the entire zoo with brick path this time. Yeah. So we got to be careful. We want a lot of guests in our zoo, but also we want guest happiness to be really high. So one way we're going to do that, I don't remember what the threshold values are, but we're going to reduce the prices on everything so that guests are really happy about that. Right now we need the money, so we can't. Basically, we have the next 10 months to try to get this place into a guest-pleasing machine. And that is really the only thing that matters. Let's add some exhibit signs. That should be good. Okay. I should probably add tour guides. And I want to get all these paths replaced pretty quickly. Because obviously the dirt paths are really ugly. So I think that's just our next priority is get rid of all the dirt paths. In the meantime, okay. don't remember. Yeah. You. All right. Yeah, I don't remember if shop pricing affects guest happiness or not. In any case, we now have some money again, so let's waste it all. Alright, now we just have this big stretch here between the entrance and the rest of the zoo to pave. Let's turn off buildings again so I can see what I'm doing. So technically I believe it would be cheaper to sell the path. That gives us back a portion of what we paid. And then build over it. But it's not worth it. Well, it probably is worth it, but... Okay. Every fake dollar matters. Hello, Sealith. Give me more money. Currently 5 hours away from your workplace. Yay for mini vacation. Alright, so we almost had the pads all replaced. Which I approve of. Once the pads are all replaced, the next step will be... I don't know. What's our current guest happiness? 88. Wow. We're actually... not having any guest happiness issues at all yet. I'm somewhat surprised. I mean, ideally, we would just ride this nice little wave of 80 plus happiness all the way to the win, without me having to do anything special other than decorate. Obviously, I'm not going to count on that. We'll be watching it very carefully as time ticks down. But we've got a good chunk of time left before the end of the scenario. Okay, pads are replaced. Next up, What can we add that'll make guests happier? The primate house is a relatively cheap win. Just figuring out how much space I'm going to have to level here. Think that's enough space? Yep. Lots of drugs. Don't think that's a good idea. Anyway, we need 1,100 monies for the primate house. We're not going to be able to fit much in here. The aviary is a good one too. We might be able to cram that in beside the primate house, but I kind of don't think it'll fit. And we definitely can't. Well, we couldn't fit it over here if we moved everything around a lot, but... yeah. If we move the carousel, I think we might be able to fit it in there. Okay, return buildings on. Oh no, we did move the gift shop. The carousel's fine. The gift shop is not that hard to move. We could go jam that over behind the crocodiles. That's an idea for later. For now, though, primate house. Jamming in over there. Guest happiness is 90. That's pretty good. I'd like to have a Japanese garden, but it's very few people and it's very large physically. We'd have to remove this and jam more stuff in over here, and yeah, it's not going to happen, I don't think. Yeah, you can get other shows or whatever you can run in here that give different amounts of happiness in exchange for different upkeep costs. Right now we're just running the basic one because we don't have any better ones unlocked. Okay, can I jam a gift shop in over here? I don't think so. There's not quite enough room. Conflicts with the primate house, which means we probably are not going to be able to run an aviary. Alright, well that's unfortunate, but we'll just have to live with it. Unless we move the animal theater and jam it in over here, maybe. That might be usable, worthwhile. Okay, is there any relatively small buildings we can jam in over here? That would increase happiness. Nothing except like concessions and stuff. Which I don't want because I don't want to have to worry about trash in the zoo. We could of course put in everyone's favorite compost building right here. That would really increase the beauty of the zoo. Or not, as the case may be. Okay. Let's hide the buildings again. And then we can start worrying about decorative bullshit. I think we'll just run flower beds up these gaps right here. Okay, so we got a new Primates of Southeast Asia. If we check this, that gives +6 to both adults and children instead of +5 to adults and +3 to children. But it does have a upkeep cost of $120 a month, which we will just have to live with. Because that happiness bonus is too good to pass up. Alright. That takes care of that. Kind of thinking about just running flower beds up the sides here too. It's an idea. So one thing that's somewhat important is that this zoo is super cheap to run. Because by having it be super cheap to run, it means that later we can reduce costs on things and it won't hurt anything. Okay. I hate that I can never tell which way it's going to rotate before I click the rotate button. Like I know, like it's predictable. It's not completely unpredictable or anything. It's just that I'm really bad at predicting it. I'm going to remove that so we can have a little path through there for the zookeeper. Because he does still need to be able to reach the... what do you call it? Reach the exhibit doors. Okay. Okay. Now we just have a stretch over here we can cover. Lemurs of Madagascar. I have to go see if that one's better than what we're currently running. Oh, we're out of money. That's why we can't place that. Boom. Okay. Okay, this place has been pretty decorated. We're not using any of the really nice stuff because we just simply don't have the room for it. But, oh well. Buying highest quality animal care, word comes cash bonus of 5,000. Okay, that doesn't matter. It looks like we should be selling off some ostriches. Oh yeah, I was gonna check this. Plus 10, plus 15. Okay, that's huge. You know, I could probably jam the carousel over here. Let's see if I could fit the carousel over here. Because if I can fit a carousel over here, that would save me a lot of trouble. It looks like we can't actually. That's distressing. Alright, let's go ahead and flatten this part of the zoo out some. We've got a ton of money at the moment. So let's go ahead and get rid of the Animal 3A Theater. And then let's replace the Animal Theater. I really want an aviary in here. Okay. That should do. Plus 10, plus 15. Yeah, that's worth the price. I'm going to chop this price in half. More than in half. Chop that more than in half. Okay. Now, do we have any... I don't have space for like a duck pond or anything in there, no. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We can jam in a zoo map or something like that in some of these spots. I don't remember if the zoo map actually matters to anyone or not. Oh, I forgot to put up observation areas. Okay. So I'm pause and let those guests clear out of that. Now, we could fit a fountain right here. Yeah, let's do that. Get your fat guest ass out of the way. Okay, there we go. Now. Concrete observation area. Right along there. Beautiful. All right. Where's the damn zookeeper? Probably should get a second zookeeper. Okay. Guest happiness is currently 89, so it's fallen a little tiny bit since last time I looked. But not much. In general, guest happiness is very high. And we were making pretty good money. So I'm not overly happy with how this place is designed, but with the space constraints we have available, it's probably the best we could do. Yeah. Imagine people report higher satisfaction when the alternative is being fed to lions. Hey, you joke, but some scenarios you need absurdly high guest happiness. And I have literally in the last couple months gone through the guests that were in the zoo individually, picking out the ones who were too unhappy and were bringing the average down, and sticking them in the lion pen until they either got ate or decided to leave the zoo. It's not exactly necessarily the completely useless strategy. We're at 91 happiness right now. I think there's a scenario that requires either 92 or is it 95 average guest happiness? I don't remember which it is. Either way, it's absurd. Like, I'm really happy with 91. That's pretty high. Our zoo rating is 85, which is fine, I guess. Yeah, we're raking in the money. Private donations, 20,000. All the happy guests leaving are just giving us massive amounts of money. I think it's 92, which is still non-trivial. Like right now we're at 90. It reminds you of some of the survey targets you had in working retail. Yeah. Yeah. Zoo's the best game ever. I do very much enjoy this game. I've never played Zoo Tycoon 2, which apparently a lot of people really like. But yeah. I bought Zoo Tycoon 1 many, many years ago as a much younger person. And played the hell out of it. This is probably actually the first time I've played it. In a good 15 years. Well, you know, aside from when I played it last week. Okay, how many lions do we have right now? 5, okay. Let's reduce the lion count to where it should be. And run around and make sure we don't have excessive amounts of creatures. Alright. A lot of these exhibits aren't really that large, so we don't want tons of animals in them. Have I tried Planet Zoo? I have not. Okay. That's still baby wildebeest. We'll leave him alone. We have 3 zebra. That one's still a baby zebra, so we'll leave him alone. Alright, looks like all the exhibits are under control animal population-wise. Okay. Guest happiness is 89, so happiness is starting to go down slowly. Okay, so we reduced the price of the carousel, and what was the other thing we reduced the price on? Animal theater? Yeah. So I want to see if we can catch a guest coming out of either of these places. Prices of carousel 1 are really low. Okay, yeah. We cut the price just slightly under half. So for this, we want... let's see. 550 would be half. 525 would be just under half. No. What am I saying? Be 4... Yeah, 450, 425. Okay. And then for restaurant, we want 575. I'm not sure what the actual breakpoints are for happiness, but we're going to sell everything at just slightly under half price. Get that happiness up. Yeah, I've heard good things about Planet Zoo. I don't know. Honestly, the main thing I like about this game is not necessarily the zoo aspect, so much as it is the massive amount of nostalgia. Yeah, I'm not sure when I would have bought this. It probably would have been around... Oh... Would it have been 2007? It definitely wasn't a new game anymore when I bought it. But that's fine. Because my computer at the time was definitely not a new computer either. Alright, guest happiness is 90. We only need 85 to complete the scenario. Only 85. Alright. We've completed all the Animal House research. So we're ready on the best possible for all of those. Let's go ahead and get staff education. Speaking of which, let's hire some tour guides. Three of them is probably excessive, but it doesn't hurt anybody. Alright. I'm kind of surprised we were able to get this high. Well, it's 87 now. I was about to say I'm kind of surprised we were able to get this high with having our admissions still set to cheap. We've got 30 zoo benefactors right now. Remember correctly, zoo benefactors, every month they give you a random amount of money between $1 and $300. Something like that. So we should get like a minimum of 30,000 at the beginning of the month. That's where most of our money is coming from. So if you actually look here, private donations, 23,000, 4,000. Yeah, it depends on if you roll high or low, how much you get, I guess. Alright, anyway, we're making money one way or the other. We just chopped our concession income in half, so we're not going to get a huge amount from that. If happiness is a little bit iffy when we start getting close to the end, then I'm going to jack up admission prices to the maximum. Because admission price doesn't affect happiness. It does affect how many guests are willing to come to your zoo, but it doesn't affect happiness. And so ultimately we don't really care. You'll still get the occasional guest arriving, which means you can actually still make pretty substantial amounts of money off admissions if you jack it up to max. But yeah, it doesn't matter. Zoo rating's been holding steady at 85 for a long time. Oh well. Yeah, this would be very hard to do, this scenario, if it wasn't for the 4-animal savanna exhibit. We basically have to jam in a ton of tiny little minimum size exhibits. And then we would be hard pressed for space to fit stuff like the primate house and the aviary, which are definitely helping with happiness. Speaking of which, we're back up to 90 happiness again. If you look at the guest list, 100 happiness, 95 happiness, 100 happiness, 100 happiness. There's just a couple of unhappy new arrivals that are bringing the average down. Pretty much every single guest whose happiness is lower is a newer guest who hasn't been in the park for very long. So you begin to see why it might pay off to keep guests out of your park if you're trying to get happiness up. Yeah, just arrived in park. Happiness 67. So this guest pretty much just entered the park and beeline straight for the animal theater. So let's see what their happiness is. 67 right now. We'll see what it is when they come out. 71. Okay, where are you going, you dumbass? You're hungry. So you're beelining over here to the restaurant. Okay, tour guide training, that's good. Are you the dumbass we were following? Yes, you are, okay. Yeah, same guest. So they got some happiness from just visiting the animal theater and another boost to happiness because of how cheap it was. Now they're heading to the restaurant. Happiness is down to 66. Now it's up to 74. Because they ate. That's part of it. Actually, why is their hunger still 35? Okay, now it's full. Now where are you going? Now they're going to go check out some animals? No? Where can you buy a souvenir? Behind you, there's a gift shop, dumbass. Anyway. So you see how their happiness is slowly going up over time. It's not going to take it terribly long before it's effectively maxed out. Assuming they do things other than just stand there with their thumb up their ass. Boom. Ooh, that was huge. We went from 69 to 89 happiness just from looking at the Savannah exhibit. Okay. Okay, that's pretty big. Wham, now they're at 96 happiness. What thought triggered that? Whatever, it just updated, apparently. Okay. Yeah, saltwater crocodiles is what's in the water over here. I don't know if saltwater crocodiles actually eat guests or not. I don't remember. Guests will certainly run away from them. Yeah, that guest went to 100 happiness real fast. So basically, if we get enough happy guests in here and stop inviting more unhappy guests, zoo population will very slowly go down over time. Guest population. But what is there will all be super happy people, and they'll come in slow enough that the average will stay high. When we get to like October, I'm going to jack the entrance fee to maximum. You must test this for science? Nah. For one thing, it's kind of hard to get an animal to eat a guest. The T-Rex is usually pretty willing to do it, but obviously we don't have any T-Rexes. Lions will sometimes do it if I remember correctly. Tigers will sometimes do it. But usually they'll just let them run past unless they're hungry or something. Anyway, average happiness is down to 89 again. Seems to fluctuate between 89 and 90 pretty regularly now. Yeah, now we're back up to 90 again. There's tour guide training. That should make our tour guides a little bit more useful. Remember correctly, tour guides, they just straight up improve guest happiness a little. I don't remember exactly how it works. Anyway. The money is rolling in. Private donations. We got that one really good month. The rest of the months have been kind of We have 37 zoo benefactors right now, though. We must have just got a really high roll on the donation money for that month, but still like 4,000, 3,000. We're getting more money from zoo benefactors than any other income source. These months of the high recycling benefit, that was when we deleted some stuff and moved it around from Berkeley. Alright, let's go through the animals here again. How many damn ostriches do we have? Okay, those two are still babies. We can keep them for now. This exhibit is already overpopulated with animals. Ideally, I mean, I do have the money. I should just make the exhibit larger, but nah. More lions. Because that's something we definitely need is more baby lions. Alright, it's October. Let's go ahead and jack up our admission fee. Maximum admission fee is 100. We will still get the occasional guest who's insane. And we'll pay 100 to get into the zoo. But this should result in our happiness spiking. Like, there was a guest who just arrived right there. They don't have any thoughts about the zoo price. 75 happiness. Here. Oh, come on. It's really annoying I can't place them underneath the awnings. No. Go past the exhibit and get brainwashed by seeing masses of happy animals. There we go. Now stop and look at the exhibit. They're not going to stop and look at the exhibit. Bastards. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Happiness is up to 92 already. That's pretty much the highest it's been. And now you get the more money than brains guests. Yeah. More importantly though, we just get less guests, which means that the average happiness will go up. Anyway, there is later scenarios where you need to get really high happiness. And honestly, this is kind of what you need to do at the end of those scenarios too. You need to build little tiny areas that are just absolutely chock full of prettiness, pretty shit. And then a few, all the basic concessions and stuff, and just a few different animals. All jammed together in a little tiny area. Right by the zoo entrance. We're up to 94 guest happiness. For some reason, I think it's not going to be too much trouble to get the 85 that we needed. But also, we're at 94 guest happiness, or 93 guest happiness, after spending pretty much the entire scenario past setting up the initial animals, doing nothing but worrying about guest happiness. This guest's favorite animal is the Loch Ness Monster. In case you wondered, yes, you can get Loch Ness Monsters. You've been given Blue Ribbon or highest customer satisfaction for making guest visits to you memorable. Comes a 25k bonus. I think that's for hitting 95 guest happiness. That's not terribly useful as far as awards go, because usually by the time you're hitting 95 guest happiness, 25k isn't that big of a deal. But it is nice. Anyway, I don't remember if Loch Ness Monster is one of the secret monsters. Or, you know, secret, not monsters. One of the secret animals or not. It might be one of the secret animal from Marine Mania. But I'm not actually sure. In any case, I guess I knew it existed, but I've never actually had one in a zoo of mine. Yeah. Current happiness, still 95. That's a solid 10 more than we need to win. It's October 29th. Do I want to put up any jack-o'-lanterns or anything? I don't think I do. They're kind of ugly, honestly. Yeah. I think this is probably going to be the smallest zoo we'll have to deal with. There's some other tight space type challenges, but this one's quite small. Ooh. 96 guest happiness. I'm pretty sure it's basically impossible to hit 100. You'd have to have every single guest at 100 happiness at the same time. And I just don't see a world in where that can happen. 96 is already absurd. Also, we have 70,000 cash, so despite the fact that everything is half price, we're raking the money in. Oh, 97. Emissions income, 350. So we had the equivalent of 3 adults and a kid come in this month so far. And it's only the first week. Last month we had 33,000 in private donations. Yeah. We're rich. Ugh. We would be losing money as a zoo, though, if it wasn't for the private donations, I think. Because if we look, last month we got 33,000. We made 31,000. If we turned research off, we'd be barely making money. If we raised our concessions back to normal prices, that would be enough to get us back to making money as well, I think. But because private donations are a thing, we don't have to worry about it. Yeah, so every single guest in the zoo has a favorite animal. Most of the time it's not relevant to anything. Because the chance of you actually having their favorite animal is quite low. Particularly if you have the expansion packs. Because like a lot of their favorite animals are random ass dinosaurs and stuff like that. Atlantic swordfish. Yeah, sure, I've got Atlantic swordfish in this zoo. They're right over there in the corner. Plains zebra? Okay, this person actually has a favorite animal that is in the park. Have they been to see it yet? Yes, they have. Their happiness is not actually quite 100. I'm not sure how much of a happiness boost they get from seeing their favorite animal, but there's definitely some. Speaking of happiness, we're still at 97. It is getting later in November. Anyway. What is our zoo rating? 87? I don't remember what all goes into zoo rating anymore. I'm a little surprised it's that low, though. Yeah, you can see here's where we set our emissions to max. Yeah, you can see the guest population dropping off pretty hard. There's the donation graph. Oh, wait. That's why some of these are so high. I forgot. seeing that we got a huge donation in January, I was like, what? No way. The donations we get for hitting certain milestone trophies count for this. So like this one would give us 25k. This one they give us 15k. This one gave us 15k. Wait, this one gave us 25k. This gave us 15k. And this gave us 5k. So that one outlier month there in the middle, I think that's the 15k plus whatever we would have received normally. That doesn't explain this though necessarily. Because if you look at the awards, these two we got very early in the game. And then this one, with its 25k, was somewhere in the middle. And this one only gives 5k. So that definitely doesn't fully explain any of these peaks, really. Like last month we got 13k in donations. None of that was from awards. That was just purely people giving us money. We have 56 zoo benefactors. That's insane. Every time a guest leaves who's happy, there's a chance they become a zoo benefactor. So basically, we're just crapping out happy guests. Having our emission cost jacked this high is not a good long-term strategy. It's really only good for a few months near the end of the scenario. Speaking of which, 98 guest happiness. I wouldn't be surprised that's the highest I ever had. I can't imagine what you'd have to do to get 99 or 100. You'd pretty much just have to have one really super happy guest left and drive everyone else out. Anyway. Oh. Alright, there's no more staff education left to do. Not that it really matters. We're down to 96 guest happiness. Oh no. That's another thing that's a problem when our guest population is getting lower and lower. If we weren't very near to the end of the scenario, this would be an issue because every new guest that arrives then has a larger effect on the overall zoo happiness. Because, well, it's just how averages work. The lower the number, the more a outlier is going to affect it. Similarly, every time a particularly happy guest leaves, it has a bigger effect on it. So like this guest who just arrived right now is 75 happiness. Yeah. Let's dump him over here and see if we can get him juiced up quickly. You really want to go look at the zebras, lady? Come on. You want to stop and look at the zebras. The zebras. Nope. You want to go on by. Oh? No, they did look at the zebras and they got 80 happiness out of it. Okay. Lion 4 can't find any food. Where are the lazy ass zookeepers? Get your ass over there and feed them. I probably should have more than just 2 zookeepers. Assign 1 individually to each pen. But also, like, we definitely don't need a whole zookeeper assigned to the crocodile pen. Guest happiness, 95. Yeah, see, guest happiness is dropping off pretty fast now due to zoo population problems. But also, it's near the end of December, so it doesn't matter. Speaking of which, it's close to the end of December. We should be able to buy Christmas trees somewhere in here. It's December 24. If you can't buy Christmas trees on December 24, then I don't know when you can. But I don't see them on the list. They're not a decorative item or anything. Because they are a preferred foliage of reindeer. So they should be listed in here somewhere. Yeah. Maybe they only show up on the 25th. Okay, it is now the 25th. Okay, maybe they don't show up in this particular scenario. I don't believe that, though. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Well, we got a few short days. And then our 95 average guest happiness zoo can no longer be our problem. December 29. It's kind of funny that we've got the entire zoo pretty much on screen right now. Just cutting off a little tiny bit of the edge of the aviary and the primate house. But all the animal exhibits and everything else, all the path, is on screen right now. And we aren't even zoomed out. You have won the scenario. Okay. So next up is saving the great cats. 2 lions, 2 Bengal tigers, 2 white Bengal tigers, 2 Siberian tigers, 2 leopards, 2 black leopards, 2 snow leopards, 2 clouded leopards, 2 cheetah, 2 jaguar. Suitability rating 85 for all cat exhibits. That shouldn't be too hard. Average animal happiness rating of 90. That shouldn't be hard. 18 months to complete. Okay, this looks like an easy scenario. We will need to research some of the animals. That's fine. Yeah, we don't have to worry about guest happiness at all. Animal happiness is the only thing that matters, and it's easy to keep animals happy. Endangered Species Zoo. Exhibit suitability rating of at least 70 for 12 exhibits. Zoo rating of 70. Those should both be easy. Average guest happiness rating of 93. That less easy, but we just have to do what we did for the previous scenario, the one we just completed. Possess at least one baby black leopard, at least one baby okapi, and at least one white Bengal tiger. One baby white Bengal tiger. The guest happiness is going to be the hard part of this one for sure. But 18 months to complete. We should have plenty of time to keep everybody happy. Arctic Zoo. Oh, this is one of the ones where they give you animals and you have to build exhibits for them. Okay. Otherwise, it's trivial. Beach Resort Zoo. I think this is one of the ones that is from Arctic Zoo and Beach Resort Zoo. I think are DLC added ones, so aren't actually required to unlock the what do you call it? Southeast Asian Zoo. Pretty sure is the same way. DLC. Conservation Zoo is DLC, I'm pretty sure. Paradise Island is the first of the two advanced scenarios that are not DLC. This one unlock, when you complete it, you get the first of the secret animals. Average guest happiness rating a 93. Pain. And then breeding the giant pandas is the second of the advanced scenario, and this one unlocks the final secret animal. And that one is very easy, except you have to breed a giant panda, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. And then after that's all done, I don't know, did we go back and play Dinosaur Digs? Maybe. I've never played through the Dinosaur Dig or Marine Mania scenarios. Supposedly, the Marine Mania and the Dinosaur Digs scenarios have their own secret animals. But I'm not entirely sure what they are. I do know what the base game secret animals are. And no, I won't tell you. You either have to look it up or you have to wait a few weeks until we get there on our own. It's secret. But anyway. But yeah, saving the great cats. It's an 18-month scenario, but other than that, it should be fairly easy. Yeah. We don't need to worry about guest happiness or anything. We just make some suitable exhibits and run a basic zoo. However, I believe that will be for next week. It is only 10:12, but there's no way we can get much done before before it's time to quit. So I think that we will just call it here. Tomorrow is Friday, and Friday means EDF. I will try very hard to be ready to go by 6:30. We will see. I haven't heard anything that would indicate anyone would have not be available tomorrow. But I guess we'll see. Saturday and Sunday we'll play Timberborn. We're pretty close to the end of what I want to do with our current settlement. So that means sometime during one of those days, we'll be starting a new settlement. In particular, I'm planning to play the Timberpunk 2 map, which is definitely going to be interesting because there is no starting river on that map. There's a little bit of starting resources and storages, and there's an aquifer drill you got to get going. And that aquifer drill only lasts for a little while before it blows up, so you got to be ready to replace it. And then, of course, there's a whole host of bad things that can happen to you from that point onward, all on their own fun little timers of excitement and joy. So it should be very difficult. I'm not sure if it's the hardest map anyone's made for the game yet, but it's probably one of the more interesting, very hard maps that's been made for the game. But anyway, so that's for the weekend. Monday, of course, we'll have some good old crab champions. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, we will continue with Opus Magnum. Before, of course, more Zoo Tycoon next Thursday. But anyway, for tonight, though, let's see. Is anyone on the all follow list doing anything? Nope. Nope, they're not. Okay. Boring bastards. Hopefully, I'll see you all back here tomorrow for some good old EDF. And I will see you all later. Good night and goodbye.